Let's turn attention to the stock market now. The Nigerian Exchange Limited has begun the week with a loss of 76 billion naira as the bears regain market dominance at the close of Monday. The NGX all-share index depreciated by 0.03% and to 43,818.12 index point from 43,956.76 index point last Friday. Consequently, the market capitalization of equities depreciated by 76 billion naira to close at 23.86 trillion naira. The market breadth also closed flat at 13 gainers and 13 losers. Meanwhile, a turnover of 187.09 million units of shares were traded in about 3,000 deals during the day's trading. Now let's take a look at the mood of the market now, and of course what investors are saying ahead of the inflation figure due to be released later Tuesday. Mr. Charles Fakro, iBrandTV senior analyst and stockbroker, he joins us now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's look at Monday's market. I just about almost 2 hours into today's trading, or more than 2 hours into today's trading now. But let's look at the market yesterday and what you think drove the market. Of course, we understand that the bears regained market dominance as the market capitalization lost about 76 billion naira at the close of yesterday. Doctors.
Yes, with the election uncertainty, macroeconomic data that traders are expecting, all these played a major role in what happened yesterday. But however, particularly MTN, there was some bit of profit taking in the shares of MTN, and that also drove the market to that bearish condition. So the profit taking the shares of MTN, and that made the price to come down to about 187 naira 40 kobo. So that also contributed to the negative end we saw in the market yesterday.
Apart from the shares of MTN, you have other penny stock like John Holt PLC leading other decliners with about 9.9%, closing at 36 kobo. You have United Bank as well, PLC, losing about 5.3%. You also have, Africa Prudential PLC, declining by 4.7% to close at 5 naira 10 kobo. So, let's look at fundamentally how strong are these stocks when you look at their book value.
Yes, you can see that most of the stock, not only those ones you have mentioned, are already in their 52-week low. So what you expect is a repositioning of the portfolio. So those stocks coming down was a result of heavy sell-off of those stocks, and you can even see that from the volume. So you can see that investors are repositioning, rebalancing their portfolio. So we are going to be expecting that kind of sell-off. Also remember, they are also expecting the inflation data to come up later today.
Okay. When you talk about data, how do you mean?
Yes, we are expecting the inflation figures.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was going to go up
later in the day.
Yes, I was going to go to that. But just before we get to that, how that is going to define investors' position and maybe sentiment in the coming days, let's talk about the gainers for yesterday. Interestingly, you have FTN Cocoa, you have Consolidated Hallmark Insurance. In that category, you have Asa Mansard Insurance there. And so for the shares of MTN Cocoa Processor going up about 9.7% to close at 34 kobo, while Consolidated Hallmark Insurance. So both in the insurance sector and of course in the consumer goods, you're seeing yes, consumer goods, you're seeing some bulls, rising there, some rally, going up there or being affected there. So talk to us about this. What do you think it's responsible?
Just a quick one. For the consumer goods, those ones that we saw that went up will not even drive the consumer goods index to even positive territory, because that index closed flat. However, for the MTN Cocoa, that was up by about over 9%, and of course the price closing at 34 kobo. Yeah, it did a kind of an encouraging value of over 500, just half of a million, over 600 million naira in terms of volume. So you can see that is not even enough to even kind of look at what has happened to MTN. So the increase cannot measure with the decrease concerning MTN, and that is why we saw the index closing in the negative territory. Right. Yes, MTN Cocoa has come a long way, so we are believing that the management is trying to do a lot of restructuring in terms of their processing of cocoa. So we are going to be seeing a lot of volume from that security, and of course, based on the economic macroeconomic situation, we see a slight improvement in the performance of MTN Cocoa.
Let's look at the outlook for today ahead of the inflation figure due for Tuesday, later Tuesday. So how is that going to affect the movement and the investor sentiment in the market today?
Well, as I speak to you, the market is still a little bit quiet, but we've seen the Osho index as, I wouldn't say it has increased. Marginally, it's showing some potential of being increasing. We've seen some gainers and losers. Of course, I will not be able to say it's going to gain, it's going to lose. But I think the mixed sentiment will continue. Portfolio repositioning will also continue. And of course, a lot of traders within bargain hunting. Like I said earlier, most of the stocks are already at 52-week low. So investors, this is the time for investors to apply what I call the contrarian principle. That is, don't be afraid, when others are fearful. So people will be afraid now. So for the discerning investor, this is the time to becoming very cautious in terms of what they want to invest into. Because despite after everything, we are seeing a rebound, of course, for maybe 2023. As I speak right now with you, looking at the trading figures, it is obvious that we're not too sure whether the bears or the bulls will take control at the end of market today. But when those inflation figures, once they come out today, of course, we expect some reaction from the market. But what I'm going to say is the sentiment will still continue. Investors or the traders will still do a lot of bargain hunting. So at the end of today's market, we might see probably a slight increment or decrease either ways.
Okay. All right. Let's look at the inflation figure now. The last inflation figure was around 20.77% for September. So analysts expect that that trajectory or perhaps that trend should continue in the month of October. So what's your take or your position as regards to that stand?
Yes, earlier I would have said, yes, I don't expect the inflation figures to change significantly. But from looking at performances so far, last week and this week, one is tempted to say that, yes, there will be a slight increase in the inflation figures, particularly the food and energy figures.
Now, I know it's just about 2 hours, 15 minutes exactly when the market came live today. Start trading. And so let's talk about some of the sectors going forward, your outlook for some of these sectors. You have the industrial goods, you have the telcos index there, and you have industrial, and then the consumer goods as well. The banking is also there, the oil and gas is there. Let's get your thoughts on these sectors. Which one is likely to attract investors in the appetite in the coming days?
Okay, well, it depends on also the investment philosophy of each investor. Yes, as a trader, I will say, depending on that philosophy, that will determine the sector an investor will want to be, and of course, looking at his own appetite will determine the company is expected to invest in. However, I would just say generally, investors should not only look at the fundamentals right now, they should also look at the technical issues involved in terms of this particular company they want to invest in. How has it performed? What is the 52-year high and the low? And if they see that, yes, it has gotten to that 52-year low, those are the kind of companies they should take position in. Like for those who want to look at of course, depending on their philosophy and objective, then they can get into the various sectors. I would say categorically, all the sectors are good to invest, depending on the investor's philosophy and objective.
Okay, so I would have asked you one more question. I think we need to go now. So your final thought now, how, when it comes to inflation figure, everybody or investors they sometimes are cautious. How cautious do you think they are going to be going forward? Let me put it that way before we wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are so cautious, but it's very obvious that, like I said, maybe in some few hours from now, you might see a very slight increase in the inflation figures.
Okay, all right. I think we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time, Charles Fakroha, business analyst with iBrandTV, and of course, he is also a stockbroker as well. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
If you just join us, this is Business Breakfast coming to you live from our studios here in Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. Still to come after the break. Brent crude futures fell 27 cents, or about 0.3%, to $92.87 a barrel in early trade after selling down 3% on Monday. But that's our focus next when we come back from this break. Please stay with us.